Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have another 3-word challenge with Nathalie from Line.Arrow. We have done one before when we did our swap and we decided to continue until the words are used up. So Nathalie has chosen 3 words for me, or well, not really chosen, she picked them out randomly, and my words were frame, index card and postage stamp. I've cut out a frame out of a piece of paper that was a misprint. This was a bit of a heavier cardstock. I think it would be around 160 GSM if you are wondering. I have also cut up some strips that I want to use to fill the frame with, and I'm going to ink around all the edges with some ground espresso, and then I'm going to glue everything down with some glue stick. I try to line it up with the center of the frame because it's harder to cut off the excess in the middle. I'm not really worried about the outside because I'm just going to chop off all the excess. And I'm using my paper trimmer to do that. I'm then going to ink the edges again. And I'm using quite a bit of ink. I am now going to cut out a piece of vellum that I want to attach to the back side of the frame. And I'm just going to glue the frame down onto the vellum with some glue stick. I'm trying to line it up with the bottom so I don't waste too much vellum, and then I'm going to cut it out with a precision knife and a ruler. I then did some stitching around the edges, and I am then going to see if I can back it up with another piece of paper because I want this to be a pocket where my index card can slide in. But first I'm going to use some tape to cover all the stitching with, because otherwise it will be way harder to put in the index card into the pocket. I then decide to use some design paper instead of the cardstock, and I've cut out a size with a hinge because I might want to add this to a journal one day, and if I decide not to use the hinge I can always cut it off, but maybe I want to make it as a flip out or something, so that's why I decided to add a hinge. I'm going to ink it as well with the ground espresso, and then I'm going to stick down the frame. So I'm going to put some art glitter glue on 3 sides, leaving the top open because this will be a top loading pocket. I can always decorate the back side if the paper doesn't really fit my project, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm trying to see if the index card still fits, and it does, so that's good. I've then taken out some postage stamps, which I'm also going to ink with ground espresso, and I'm gluing them down. And I try to make them overlap the vellum a bit because I like that look. And I've chosen some browns and teal colors because those colors are also in the frame. I was then missing one more stamp, so I'm going to add one more there on the top. There were still some open spots, so I decided to make a few stamps of my own. I'm going to use some Tim Holtz craft cardstock and some leftover pieces that I used to cover the frame with. Now I'm not going to add a deckled edge for this time. I've done it in the past. You can watch my faux postage stamp video if you'd like, or if you haven't seen it yet, I will post it down below. But for these ones, I decided to just distress the edges with my sanding disc. And I'm also making sure that I roughen up the corners. They are almost round due to the sanding. And then I'm going to glue down the top part. And now I'm going to do some stamping. I have this stamp from Kathy Holden. I think it's signed here. But I only want a few numbers. So I carefully put the ink on the stamps so that I only ink a few numbers, because those represent the stamp prices. I've done this randomly. I don't know if the prices are like legit or not, obviously, because most stamps are way more expensive than just 3 cents or 6 cents. But I sort of messed up because my plan was to add even smaller numbers, but I totally forgot. That's why there's a 3 and a 6 cents there. And then I'm using the 6 1/4 stamp from Tim Holtz because it has a cent sign. And I'm going to put those next to the numbers to make it look like these are the prices of the stamps. I did mess up with the 3 a bit, but I don't really mind. Then I'm going to stamp the received stamp, also from Tim Holtz. And now the stamps are finished and I'm going to glue them down on the frame as well. Now there's a few empty spots on the frame itself, so I decided to do a bit of stamping there. And this is how the frame turned out. I'm then going to work on the index card. I have backed up 2 index cards to each other because they were a bit thin for my opinion. And I'm going to use some distress inks on a acrylic plate and then just dump my card in there, soaking up all the ink. Now this wasn't really enough, so I decided to add more, and this is frayed burlap. Now I want to keep one side a bit lighter because I thought it would be a journaling card, and then I want the other side to have more of the green tones and the turquoise tones that are also in the frame. And I'm going to try to soak up as much of the ink as possible. Now it looks really dark, but as soon as you dry it with your heat gun, it will turn out a lot lighter. And then I'm also going to add a bit more frayed burlap on the back because it still was a bit too light for my taste. Now, because I, for some reason, didn't really like how it turned out because it was a bit buckled, I decided to add a real vintage, I think this is a telegram card, or yeah, I'm not sure how you call it. But I decided to add that to the back side, which was supposed to be the journal card. But honestly, I like this way better, so I'm glad that I did. And I'm going to cover the back side with some art glitter glue because I don't want this to come off. And I don't think that the glue stick alone will be strong enough. Now this card is a bit bigger than the index card, but I will trim off the edges with my paper trimmer. Now I'm taking some of the Tim Holtz craft cardstock again, and I'm going to punch out a tab with my whale tail punch. And then I'm going to sand around it with my sanding disc, and I'm also going to do some stamping. Now the stamping is just for background purposes, so it doesn't really matter if it's readable or not. And then I'm going to do some sanding again to make the stamping a bit more vague. I'm then going to attach it at the top side of the index card. And then I'm going to stamp one more stamp, and I'm using the ground espresso to do that because I really want the stamps to be light. I'm then going to see if it still fits in the pocket, and it does, so I'm glad. I'm then going to make 2 holes on the top of the tab and add 2 eyelets because I want to add a bow. And I'm using some hemp cord in the color brown. And what I also like to do is put a bit of glue on the knot to make sure that it stays on longer or better. Hopefully it will stay forever. And I'm just gonna fiddle it around until I like how the bow looks. I am going to add a bit more decorations to the back side, and I really like the green and turquoise tones. I'm going to use 3 of the Tim Holtz snippets. I'm going to ink around the edges, I roughen them up with my nails, and then I'm going to stick them down as a tiny cluster. I'm also going to do a bit of sanding with my sanding disc. We are now nearing the end of the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this frame. The 3 words that I've chosen for Nathalie are altered playing card, index card and accordion. So keep an eye on her channel. I don't know when she is going to post, but as soon as she did, I will put the link in the description down below. I want to wish you all a nice day, and if you have not subscribed yet, please consider to do so. It really helps my channel grow, and I really appreciate it if you did. You can also turn on the notification bell so that you will never miss an upload. Thank you all for watching. Have a nice day. Bye!